Are we ready to do this thing?
Yeah.
Let's do this. This episode of Lords of the Storm is brought to you by our sponsors over at Patreon, where you, yes you, can also support the show. Just head over to patreon.com/Lords of the Storm to become a patron today.
Heroes, gather tribute and earn my favor. What do you say? Are you ready to begin?
Hey everyone, my name is Greg Gizmozord Parker, and you are listening to Lords of the Storm, episode 125, the weekly Heroes of the Storm podcast for you, the true Heroes of the Storm. I am joined tonight, of course, by the Zord Lords themselves, Mr. Kevin Multizord Ellis and Ryan TBK Zord Reader. And on this week's episode, Suns Out, Guns Out comes to an end. Twitch cheering is here with exclusive in-game loot. A new solo tank will be making his way to the PTR. We get some balance changes, and our teams are set for the Western Clash in Kiev. But first, let's see how the other Zords are doing. Multi, how are you doing tonight?
Greetings.
Was
it you who was tilted by Garrosh's his greeting in Hearthstone?
Yes, that was me. It's
the
one greeting. It's like, even if they're trying to be nice, I just automatically think they're trying to be a dick.
Well, that's just Garrosh's personality, so it works.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. No, I'm doing well. So wait, you said that Suns Out, Guns Out is over? Does that mean that summer is over? Like, do we have to put our hoodies back on and go back to school and all that junk? I don't get how this works.
Well, I'll tell you what. Since I just, for those listening, I just moved from Jacksonville back to Kansas City, and it was actually hotter here than it was in Florida for like the first week. Actually, I guess I haven't even been here a week yet, but like the first 3 or 4 days, but now it's finally gone back down to 80. So maybe summer is over.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah, it was rocking like, 100 with a heat index of 115 for a while there.
Yeah, like 9 o'clock at night.
It was getting kind of rough.
All right. Well, TBK, you're here as well. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. Apologies to everyone who likes TBK sound effects. We had to put those back in storage.
All 5 of you.
Oh, yeah, all 5, including Spearian.
Okay, guys.
Yeah,
okay. If you like the TBK sound effects, please tweet in showing your support, because they don't believe me. They don't believe me that it's a wonderful thing. So
yeah, did we just get rid of all the sounders in the music and just go to TBK vocals? Is that something we need to do?
Yeah, I think there might need to be a poll or something.
Okay.
Yeah. What we need to do is actually take those and send them to Jake Butno, just out of, like, for irony's sake.
Yeah, and then and then I guess, like, if there's a week that TBK isn't here, then we just do the sounders. That'll be
like
the auditing.
Real
I don't know.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah,
okay.
The high quality stuff. Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, let's go ahead and get into what you all have been up to this week in gaming. TBK, let's start with you.
I actually took a little bit of a heroes break this week, just because it was kind of a slower week and I was really busy. I got in my daily Suns Out, Guns Out games, and then a few other games beyond that, but not a whole lot. I actually jumped on Steam, and I was like, I've been kind of jonesing for a single player game to kind of play through, and so I found that I had Dragon Age Origins just randomly. I don't know where I got it. Well, I got it on Steam. I mean, I guess that since I was looking on Steam, I got it on Steam at some point. Yeah, it was one of the sales. I don't know. I just found it. I was just like, I'm gonna play through this. So I grabbed like the high res texture pack or whatever, and started playing through it. It's actually pretty fun. It's kind of unique. It's aged decently. I mean, it's not incredible or anything, but it's aged decently, and so that's been kind of interesting. I've been really getting back into Warhammer Total War, which is absolutely fantastic. One of my favorite series of all times, combined with one of my favorite franchises of all time, and so that's been pretty cool. And I have to rant just for a second, because right before the show, I played a game of Heroes of the Storm. It was on Blackheart's Bay, and I was Ragnaros. And our team was losing the whole time. And I will admit, the other team had a super impressive Abathur. Those Abathurs that are just super ballsy, that'll be out in lane and everything. And they just tick you off because you can never kill them, but they're everywhere. And so I ended up taking Lava Wave. And that was really the only thing that kept my team in the game, because I was able to stall the push lanes enough. And so we were just back and forth. And then we get down. We've been behind the whole game. There's only one keep left on the bottom. All of our keeps are gone. I've got 2 of the lanes pushed back with Lava Wave. It's about to come up. We win this awesome fight at the turn-in, right? There's 4 of us still alive. And I say, go mid, guys. And this is 30 minutes into the game, right? Kael'thas immediately backs to clear 1 lane of our thing. Arthas stops to turn in, because the turn in is, going to hit their keeps, and that's really going to help us out. And so we move to middle lane probably 20 or 25 seconds after the team wipe. And Kael'thas is slowly making his way back. We're hitting the core, or at least I'm hitting the core. And then a few people start spawning again, and they start hitting people. The people turn around to start fighting. I'm like, no, ping, core people. This is 30 minutes. And we die. 1%.
Great.
We die at
Ooh,
1%.
yeah, one of those.
And so this is just a
One
PSA
flame
to
strike.
everybody. If you are past 20 some odd minutes, and there is at least 3 of you up, and you wipe the enemy team, and you have 1 lane where the keep is down, you most likely will be able to destroy the core if you go immediately before anybody else comes. PSA.
Yep.
It's kind of impressive. As bad as those 1% games feel when you lose, it's pretty impressive how often I have had those games where it's either us or them, and man, it feels real good when you're the team that wins to fend off a 1% core. So yeah, it feels bad, but man, you know what? It's worth it when it's the other way around. But
It's cool that it can come down to that. You're right.
Yeah, and your team ignoring the core, it's feels bad, man.
It's just basic stuff. I mean, it's just one of those things. It's a core call situation, right?
Yeah.
If you've got to keep down and you're pre-level or post-level 20 and you're post 20 some minutes into the game, and you wipe the enemy team, or you kill all but one of them, and there's still 4 or 5 of you up, you can kill the core completely. Without any minions, you can kill the core completely.
Yeah.
I think I understand from the Kael'thas' perspective in your game, though, because it's like he was jealous of you clearing all those waves with your lava waves, right?
True.
And he's a fire caster, so he was like, you know what, I gotta show off.
Little fire
I'm
envy.
capable of clearing lanes too. So he went back and did it. I can't blame him at all.
I can
I think he
understand
did the right thing.
Yep.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, Multi, what have you been up to in gaming this week?
So I've actually been taking up a single-player game as well over the past week, and that is called Hotel Wi-Fi, and it was quite the challenge. I had some disgusting numbers, 3 down at one point and that sort of thing. So I was able to, I missed a couple days because I literally could not connect to a Heroes of the Storm game, not even just your basic AI. So I didn't put in every entry that I could have. But man, did I fight for those ones that I did, because the loading time on even just the AI screen was taking me some time. So I got in. I found out that I could still kind of play Sergeant Hammer, even at horrible speeds and giant ping. And because I just would post up and auto attack and re-post up and continue auto attacking. So that was my Heroes experience over the last week. But you know what? got some entries in, and I don't know. I leveled Hammer a little bit, so can't complain there. But I don't have any epic stories like that. I was able to play more Hearthstone, of course, just because I could just go off of the actual phone, 4G. So, but yeah, it's been all right. It's good to be back, though. I'll say that much. I mean, it's a lot hotter here than it was in the up there near Seattle, of course. But it's good to be home.
And speaking of the entries and event and whatnot, what did you all win? Did you guys get anything? I, the first week, got 5 loot crates. That's all I got.
I'm saving this. I'm saving this until yes.
Oh, really? Okay, sounds good. I'll save mine too. I've really got a lot. Well,
now I feel bad because I showed my hand before.
Yep, too early.
Well, for myself, this past week there hasn't been a ton of gaming just because of driving halfway across the country and whatnot. But I have gotten a little bit of Heroes in, some Diablo, of course, with the new season coming out, doing Hardcore Necromancer seasonal ladder climbing. And then today I actually decided to check out Fortnite by Epic. That is finally.
How is that? I've been intrigued.
I've only played about 30 minutes or so, and it's different. I don't know if it opens up more, but it's kind of like a quest based where you queue up for a quest and it builds a party. But the gameplay itself is actually really, really neat. It's a good balance between resource gathering, building, and fighting.
Is the building very easy and intuitive?
Oh, super. And the building, the way they did the building is super smart. That was my biggest concern, because they showed some pretty cool looking structures. And I was just like, can those be built really easily, really fast? Yeah, and I will totally, we can talk more. I don't want to spend too much time talking about it, but I'm super excited about the building in that game. But yeah, so check that out. But as far as, Heroes, I haven't gotten much in. I'm having internet issues here. Surprise, which I've had the past couple months.
It's like the story of your life.
So ping has just been a little high, but I am working on that. New location, new problems. But there has been a ton to talk about in Heroes of the Storm.
So much
over this last week, especially. So let's go ahead and get right on into it. But first, TBK, what do we got going on in the weekly collection update?
So this week we have Zul'jin and Tassadar on for gems. We also have the Jungle Warbringer Zul'jin skin, as well as the Crimson Crypt King Tassadar skin, the Grey Warden Lunara, Heroic Bale Spider Gul'dan, that's the one that looks like a spider, Chrome Ribbit Lucio, Toxic Archangel Diablo, which kind of sounds like an oxymoron, doesn't it? Now that I think about it. The Vespin Ghost Speeder, and the Sapphire Heartstone mounts.
Yeah, Archangel Diablo already kind of contradicts itself, but if you throw in Toxic there too, man, that's just, I don't know, that's a lot going on.
All right. Multi, how about the free hero rotation this week? You got to step it up this week.
Yes. Okay. So if you guys didn't listen last week, Mr. Jeff Reynolds from Heroes Forge came on and completely annihilated every free hero rotation I've ever done on this show. He killed it with a little bit more pizzazz as he was going through. So
I didn't even know he was going to do it either.
No,
it was super impressive.
Yeah, it was super good. So I don't know if I'll do as well of a job as he did, but I will give it my best here. So. Okay, so this week, free rotation in the Nexus. If you like throwing things in real life, and who doesn't, like paper airplanes, baseballs, I don't know, bricks, then there's a couple heroes that you might be interested in. We got Zul'jin and Cassia, who throw axes and spears, respectively. If you're a little stranger and you like throwing things like pots filled with spiders, you got Nazebo. For some people, of course, they like a little bit more projectile speed, and for that, you can't go wrong with a gun. Rainer is on the free rotation there as well. But some people don't turn to guns. They turn instead to magic. So we've got Jaina with that. And if you're instead against all of that sort of thing, want to be a little beefier, get in there and just smack some people around, then there are a lot of choices for you. We've got Leoric, the Skeleton King, swinging his big thing around, whatever. It depends on the skin you have, kind of what it is, right? So Sonya's got a couple swords. You can change those around with the skins too. Muradin, more big hammers, or maybe like robot hammers. Diablo is the literal devil, as we just discussed. And hey, get that Toxic Archangel skin, look even cooler as you go around throwing people over your head, John Cena style. And so, if you're not satisfied with those, we've of course got the other heroes. We've got the 11th slot Zarya. She's Russian. That's all I'm going to say right now. If you are more interested in just more evil heroes than Diablo himself, and again, Diablo, the literal devil, there is one hero in the game that is more evil than him, and it is the 12th slot Brightwing. No question. And then if you still like to flit around and do a bunch of stuff and are just into guns, but not like the same type of gun as Raynor, man, I'm just ranting at this point, Tracer. And then there's Zeratul in the 14th slot. There you go.
that just flowed so well.
That was the plan.
So well.
Yeah, that happened. If I'm gonna have to go back and listen to last week's again to compare the two.
Please don't.
Come up with the winner. So,
please, no one like cap those and compare them side by side, because that would. I can guarantee I know the winner of that one.
Yeah.
Hats off to you, Jeff. I will continue to work on it, though. I will get you.
Gives you something to shoot for.
It does. It does.
Gives you something to shoot for.
Reach for the stars. All right. Before we get into the news here, have one other bit of business. We do have some new patrons over at patreon.com/Lords of the Storm that we want to thank. We got John K, Maya Z, and Pat C, and all of them have earned their honorary Zord titles.
You have been deemed worthy of bearing the Zord title. Welcome to the Zord Lords.
So welcome to the Zord Lords, Kroll Zord, Ziv Zord, and Cash Zord. We really appreciate your support, and we hope you guys like your newfound Zord titles. Again, we expect you to pay the money to Blizzard to go in and change your battle tags. It's required. Just kidding. You don't have to do that. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get on into the news. All right, so first up, as we had mentioned, the Suns Out, Guns Out event has come to an end here. And a Redditor by the name H2 Soy had kind of put a post Suns Out, Guns Out thoughts. We kind of just wanted to talk about it. You know, this is the first big event that we've had since 2.0 came out, and just kind of what our thoughts on it were. So some of the pros he, put out here are the Pool Party is arguably the best brawl that we've gotten, which I agree.
Totally agree.
Kind of the cheekiness of the whole event, which is awesome for a game like Heroes. The skins, the mounts, loot chests, weekly drawings were awesome. They did so many giveaways, as well as Tychus. It's
right.
Like staring into the sun, you can't turn away. That's exactly what they said, and it's very true. I don't know if you guys have seen my Discord icon, but I might have to change it now that the event's out. We'll see. Some of the cons they came up with: shard pricing, tense, lack of transparency when it came to the shard pricing pre-event and things like that, and no guaranteed event items in the loot box. So it's interesting. Now that, well, first off, I'm extremely sad. With everything that's been going on, I forgot to keep track of when the event was ending, and I didn't get to buy Power Brief Tychus. So I'm going to have to wait till next year for that. But overall, I think I'm, pretty happy with how the event went. I know a lot of people were down on the amount of items they were getting from the loot chests. I'm not one of those people that thinks we should be guaranteed them, but I do feel like the rate at which we received those could have been more. I spent so much gold this event just trying to get crates with a summer item in it that I didn't have, like regardless of rarity. Sure. So as much gold as I had racked up, I'm going to burn through that super quick. But I kind of do agree throughout this Reddit's post about, really, you couldn't tell an event was going on. This is one point that was brought up, except for the splash screen and the brawl that only lasted 1 week, which I think definitely should have lasted at least 2, if not throughout the event. And then some of the skins and stuff, which all the cosmetic stuff was awesome. But they brought up a good point of maybe having, like, even in the character select screen, maybe making that themed. the loading screens, things like that. I don't know. What's your all's opinion on the amount of time the team is putting towards that stuff when they could be working on something else versus, really making these events feel like something special? TBK?
So this is I think the most direct comparison we have to this is Overwatch,
Yep.
right? Because this is very similar to the Overwatch model of events. I think one of the reasons, at least for this event, that the loot wasn't guaranteed out of the loot box is, for one, free loot boxes are much easier to obtain in Heroes than they are in Overwatch. Also, it didn't feel like there was a decent amount of items, but it was a decent content drop, but it wasn't a huge content drop. And so it feels like when the Overwatch event happens, there was a lot more items for the Overwatch event.
Especially their 1 year event that they just had. That had almost a sickening amount of content over there to where the Overwatch community complained with there being too much.
Yeah.
So
because it's hard to collect if there's too much. But at the same time, it's just one of those, if there was more, I could see them guaranteeing an item. But with the amount they had, and I think the other problem was not just the amount, but the rarity, because there was no common items, 0, and the weight between the rares, the epics, and the actual legendaries, there was a ton of legendaries items in that drop, and so that alone just makes those way harder to get. And at the same time, it also makes those way harder to craft. And so when you're talking about doubling the shard price for the entirety, because a lot of people thought, like normal items, after 2 weeks the shard prices would drop. They didn't. And so and we don't know. And this is the time to give feedback, right? This is the time to give feedback on the event, because it will hopefully help shape future events. But as of now, this is all we've got to go on. So I can understand the double shard pricing and keeping it the whole time, because otherwise people would just wait 2 weeks and then craft stuff because they know it's going to be gone. I mean, that it just makes sense, right? So if you're gonna do that, that's fine. I would like to see in the future a better weight of items. I would like to see a lot more common and rares and fewer epics and legendaries, because the amount of shards you needed to actually craft everything was absurd.
Yeah, in a way, I don't know how it would have worked, but a way to kind of balance getting the shards would maybe be if you get a duplicate of an event item, you get twice as many shards.
Yes.
Or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, because that way that's working towards. It's still, you're not getting an event item in every crate, and especially with, a lot of them just being common crates, things like that. But it helps towards people wanting to get it, because the Tychus skin and stuff. I mean, what was that? 24? No,
2,400, I think.
Yeah, 2,400 shards. That is a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a lot.
Yeah, 2,400 per legendary item, and they didn't have. So I completely agree with you. I think if they're going to stick with the loot crates are easier to get in Heroes. Yes, they are. That's true. Okay, so the event item is not guaranteed. That's fine. If you duplicate the event item, you get double the shards. I think that's good. I also, again, would like to see a better weighting of items. Let's see some common items. Let's see more rare items, and let's see a few fewer legendary and epic items that are going to be harder to get anyways. And so that you could maybe lean a little more towards crafting those with some of the extra shards you get. Because at the same time, as we always have to remember, Blizzard's a business. They need to make money. So this has to in some way favor them so that they can make some money. But there's definitely a few things they could do with the loot boxes for the next time that would even things out a bit more. Potentially, and I don't know if there was there or not, bad luck protection within event items. I don't know if that existed or not. I know there's bad luck protection for legendaries and stuff, but I don't know if that same thing moved to bad luck protection for event items. That if
I
you
guess
didn't
is
get
no.
Yeah, that if you didn't get an event item for so many crates, you would automatically get one every 5 or something.
Yeah.
Seems like an opportunity there. Yeah. Mhm.
And I'm always on the side of, Blizzard is a business that needs to make money as well. But I do agree with the balancing of the rarities of items, because this one really just felt like, there were how many
So many
legendaries? There was the
legendaries.
Tychus skin, and then what, 4 surfboards, and then 4
there's
surfboards
more.
with the chunks
Yeah,
spitting out of them.
tons of surfboards.
So that's super exciting. Like that, I was super stoked for the event, but I only walked away with 2 legendaries, and it kind of feels bad that I didn't have the opportunity, because I'm not currently in a situation where I can buy loot crates to try and get those, which is understandable. But like,
That
to
is-
the point
yeah,
to where
as
like
a free to play, you shouldn't be getting everything. You should just
No,
know,
yeah, absolutely.
as a free to play, you're not going to get everything.
Well, and this is how it goes in Overwatch for sure. I mean, again, going back to that 1-year anniversary they just had, again, a lot of the complaints were that it was really hard to get every single little thing. And, again, when it's taken off the table, as it is now, it does feel bad to miss out on that Power Briefs Tychus, as I did as well. But I'm going to take this in a slightly different direction in saying that, so right out the gate, I picked up the bundle for this whole thing. And that actually did feel good. I had a few of the just base things that I wanted. I at least wanted the surfboard. It was the regular like trousers or just regular swimsuit version of Tychus, and the tracer was pretty basic. But as the event went on, I unlocked a few more things. Got some new tints of tracer. Got like a couple of the Stitches ones, different tints there. I think I got one of those ones where they have the Overwatch symbol all over the thing. So anyway, so that was all fine. But my complaint here is kind of strange in that when I had purchased the bundle, I felt pretty much satisfied enough. Like I would have been excited to unlock a ton of legendaries and get all the different tints, and like to get the surfboard with the shark bite out of it and that sort of thing. But I also like once I had that bundle, I kind of didn't fully care about the rest of that. Like it was nice to get those other tints and everything, but the bundle covered my bases, which is nice. Again, I'm not complaining that I was able to purchase something that I was able to use, but I feel like Blizzard may have missed out on a slight opportunity with me anyway, because, they got their money from the bundle, no question there. But would I have spent more time like really trying to crank out free crates, or would I have spent some money on some crates if I wasn't guaranteed those items? I'm not sure. So,
Kind of continuing off from that too, this kind of comes back to something we've been talking about for a while, and something that even Blizzard has acknowledged they're thinking about is the ability for more of those items to be directly purchased with gems. And I think that's really the big thing, because the bundle was all that there was from the summer event with gems. I would like to see next time we have an event, individual items purchasable with gems, not necessarily everything that's in it, but a sampling of the stuff purchasable with gems, and then maybe you have a bundle of some other stuff or whatever. But that allows people who are getting to the end and are just like, okay, there's 2 days left in the event, I haven't gotten what I want, bam, okay, I'll buy a version of this or a version of this, or since I don't have enough shards to craft the things I want, since they're double shard price, let me just go ahead and grab that surfboard mount with gems.
See, but do they want you to do that, or do they want you to get to those last few days and say, oh man, I don't have it, I need to buy a bunch of crates so that I can open them up and get enough stuff?
They do want you to buy a bunch of crates.
Yeah.
And that's why I think, you don't offer everything. And that's the thing. People who want everything, again, as a gem cost, it's probably never going to happen, because that's just not how the new system works. The new system works off of you buying loot chests. That's the primary thing, loot chests and stim packs. But as I've said before, I would like to see a larger sampling of stuff available for gems. And I think that should, move into the summer event or future events as well, offer a larger smattering of stuff that's not just limited to a single bundle. Because what if I just want a surfboard? I don't have the shards. I haven't picked the stuff up. But they put one surfboard out for gem cost. Okay, cool. I'll go ahead and grab that with gems. And so, I mean, it's just one of those things. It's a balance, right? It's a careful balance. And and apparently they're discussing this. And like I said, I would like to see 15, 20 items a week featured in the weekly sale, rather than just like the 8 to 10 or so that we get now.
Yep.
So Gone Postal in chat saying day after buy with gym sale. My one worry with that is running into people like me, which I'm sure there's a lot of, that just lose track of exactly when the event's ending and missing out on that 1 day opportunity. Granted, that could be helped with more stuff in game to like let you know when the event is running.
Yeah.
Or what could potentially be something, there's a couple options. You could do like the last week a gym sale, or maybe this. What if, they've done this technology before with the mega bundles, to where you could purchase one mega bundle one time with gems. What about doing something where either the last week or even throughout the event, to where you can purchase like one of the Tychus skins, maybe not the legendary one, one Stitches skin, one portrait, one mount and stuff with gems.
Yeah.
So that way you can get your, purchase with money, your favorite skin tint, your favorite mount. That way you're for sure getting those items, but you're limited to where you can't just buy everything with gems. That way, if you're wanting more variety, then you're having to spend your money on the crates or playing to get those free chests to get that opportunity.
See, the problem with that, though, if we know it's coming in particular, like we know the third week of a 3 or 4 week program is actually going to give us the chance to go in and buy them, then for collectors anyway that are going to look to get those specific items, those first 2 weeks are kind of dead to them. Like, I mean, okay, it's nice to unlock a few things, but there's no like initial huge wave of excitement and rush to go in and unlock a bunch of different chests, because we know that in a couple of weeks we're going to be able to buy the items that we want specifically. So
not if you can only buy one of each. For the collectors that are going to want multiple skin tints and things like that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Different ways to balance.
I also want to highlight, and we highlighted this a bit. Yes, there was no banana hammock on Tychus's Odin. That was huge missed opportunity, Blizzard. Should definitely patch that in. Also, the lack of in-game notification for the event was very baffling.
For the sweepstakes, you mean?
Just in
everything.
general.
Oh, everything.
Like when you hit your quest tab, I would like to see a Suns Out, Guns Out event and a countdown for how many days are left of this.
Yeah, or like a progress bar like they do for the seasons and
exactly.
stuff.
I mean, it's just one of those things that I would hope you could make modularly, so that, okay, you throw this chunk of code in, you change the graphic, you set the timer, bam. Now you've got that for any events you do in the future. And at the same time, too, yes, there was no indication of the contest win or indication that you needed a contest win for the day. That was a fairly big oversight, too.
There were a lot of people out there who just didn't know about it at all, I don't think. They logged in, played their games. They didn't even necessarily know they were entering in a contest.
Yeah.
And so to get even the confirmation of the win.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Just one win per day would have been so sweet. But
and speaking of, okay, Greg, go ahead.
What did you guys win throughout the event? TBK. Well, let's go with multi first.
Yeah, mine's pretty short. Nothing. TBK?
So I felt like Charlie at the end of Willy Wonka, the Gene Wilder version, not the creepy Johnny Depp one.
Well, the Gene Wilder one is a little creepy too.
It is,
fairness. But
but
go
not
on. Yeah.
not quite as creepy. So I'm Charlie. I'm walking into the office, and instead of Willy Wonka sitting there, it's Blizzard. Blizzard personified. And I look up at him, seeing that I made it to the end. And he looks back at me and says, "You get nothing! You lose! Good day, sir!" and I hang my head and I walk out dejected.
Do you not fly off in like a flying elevator thing?
No,
That's how it ends,
this is
right?
an alternate ending.
See,
Oh wow,
There
That's
is no
part of me.
happiness here.
that was. I feel better about my 5 loot crates now, because part of me thought like you were gonna be like, oh, I won the Illidan statue or new gaming PC, but okay, that story was still worth the wait.
That was good. Your impression of Gene Wilder was perfect.
So any
bad, man.
last thoughts on the Suns Out Guns Out?
It was a good attempt. It was a good a pretty good start for the new event system, because I assume this is probably going to be the norm going forward. We'll get these several times a year. These are going to be the big money makers, the big cash infusions like Overwatch, except you have to buy Overwatch too,
Yeah.
which is never
Right.
sat quite right with me, but whatever. It's good. There's definitely a lot of feedback they can take back and they can work on for the next time. Some of the biggest things, of course, being the loot, how the loot crates work, and making sure they have the in-game stuff. But otherwise, it was a fun event. And if you get the feedback from the fans about how amazing your brawl is, for the love
Yes.
of all that is good, freaking extend that brawl out another week or two. We know it's been done before. It's not hard. It may be hard, but it's been done before.
Right.
I know it can happen. Heck, even if you had to take a week off and then do it the week after to have the time to extend it or put it back in. When people like something that much and it's still during the event time, just extend it. That's the most brawls I've played in forever.
Yeah, and
Fair point.
we say that a lot of the feedback I've heard are people who enjoyed it, and most of the stuff that I've seen on Twitter and whatnot, but maybe they had information where not as many people were playing it. I know Scott Johnson said he, after 1 week, was kind of done with it and wasn't wanting to play it again. So maybe
was
they
kinda
had
that
enough
way.
people like that, but I personally super enjoyed it. So
I definitely really liked it, but I was kind of that way. Like, we had our after show game with it. That was basically the last time I played it. So, but
they'll
had
give
fun.
you the garden brawl instead.
Yeah,
well,
right.
it would be even more okay if they would keep these, like we've mentioned, in custom games.
Yes.
That way, it's this brawl again. I have to play it.
Oh,
or
we're doing
it's
a
like,
little
oh,
custom
this brawl-
tournament.
This brawl is just super fun. Like I can
Yeah.
go and play it in custom mode. So that'd be cool.
Yep.
All right. So next up is something we have been talking about since competitive heroes has been a thing, and how the earn money from the players and stuff worked, and comparing it to Dota, wanting to be able to purchase items to support those players. And we've had the mounts and stuff in the past. Well, we have our answer. As we know, Blizzard has been partnering with Twitch for the HGC, the Hearthstone stuff, StarCraft stuff, things like that. They are now partnering for a cheer system on Twitch. And if you guys don't know what those are, if you've watched, this has been a thing for the past several months. Down by like the emotes and chat, if you can cheer on a system, there'll be like a little diamond-shaped thing where you can purchase bits. It's pretty much like 100 is $1. Actually, I'm not sure that's the purchase price, but that's
it's
what
actually
it.
$1.40.
Okay.
Oh.
So if somebody receives cheers, then they get $1 for your $1.40. But how this is going to work with the HGC is you're going to be able to now cheer on the Blizz Heroes Twitch channel, and this is going to be starting, it looks like, August 1st, whenever the Western Clash and Eastern Clash kick off. And it's interesting. It's really intricate. So you're going to be able to cheer for specific teams to unlock items like those emotes, or not the emotes, the portraits, banners, sprays, things like that. And there's going to be a little progress bar you can keep track of for how much you've cheered for that specific team to unlock the next item. There's going to be another tracker that shows, just as like a global presence, how much we've cheered, and as a community, we can unlock other rewards. And then there are a progress system for you specifically, just for how much you've cheered overall, not for specific teams to unlock rewards. So I think the system is super cool. The way they're doing it as far as how the teams get paid is the organizations will receive the money, the portion of money that Twitch normally would have gotten. That's going directly to the teams, and then
Nice.
Blizzard will get their share. There isn't a
Have we
lot
confirmed
of
that?
that was
Because as of now, they're saying from the official page, each is getting, for every 100 bits, they're getting half a cent of the price, or for each bit they're getting half a cent. And so that means, from what we can tell, until something is clarified more, it looks like Blizzard gets half a penny of each bit, the team gets half a penny of each bit, and then Twitch would get its normal on top of over the dollar amount for 100 bits. So 100 bits is $1.40, right? So
Yeah.
Blizzard would get 50 cents, the team would get 50 cents, and then Twitch would get 40
Twitch would get
cents.
40. Okay.
Okay.
And
That's,
I don't
that's
know
what
where
it
I read.
seems like right now from what I can tell.
That's
Unless Blizzard has negotiated something custom, and I don't know if we'll necessarily know that until, but from the
Yeah.
official deal, like the little fact sheet on Twitch itself, it appears that it's 50-50 to Blizzard and team, and then Twitch gets their cut.
It seems
And-
logical enough, at least. Like, when I hear those numbers, I don't get upset for any of the parties concerned. Like, that just seems okay to me. But yeah, interesting to see.
Yeah, and I don't know where I read that from. Maybe it wasn't an official post, and I thought it was. But so this kind of runs into the issue that we ran in with the event. Is this is a super cool announcement that we've all been waiting for, but there's just so much lack of information for something that's coming up here. Like, I feel like we should be prepared and know exactly what's going on before this starts, when the Western Clash starts. So
And
hopefully
maybe
we'll
we
get
will
some
be.
more.
There
Yeah,
should
and so maybe
be.
Yeah.
Twitch is going to put out, it's going to have its own custom Twitch page
Mhm.
for this. So you can tell that there is a decent amount of collaboration between Blizzard and Twitch, because this is like the first time Twitch is doing something like this. And
Yeah.
they're using the same system for, they got bought out by Amazon, so you got the Amazon Prime loot, where you can link your account to Twitch and then get the stuff. It's the same type of thing. You'll need to make sure your Blizzard account is linked to your Twitch to make sure it's counting that stuff. And then that's how you're going to get linked and get given those in-game items, is through that account link.
It's good to see this happening so early, because Blizzard and Twitch really just signed that big contract on like their agreement moving forward. So to see something big like this come out right out the gate, and to have it be a Heroes type event, all the better.
Yeah.
I'm liking it.
And it's also, I like this system because we can choose who to support directly.
Yes.
Yes.
But I kind of want something to be able to support going towards the prize pool as well, to increase that, to give more incentive for, to see better play at these
Sure.
big tournaments.
So-
but it is nice to be able to choose.
Interestingly, on that point, I was reading an interview with Milkfat, who's the head of Heroes Esports right now, and he said the first thing they wanted to do was, beyond increasing the prize pools, they want to incentivize orgs
Yeah.
to
Oh yeah.
get into Heroes, to make, put a flag in the ground and say, I will support this esport. And
Wait. Literally put a flag in the ground?
Literally
Like with
put
a banner?
like a banner. Yes.
Yeah.
You got it.
That's
you got
right.
it. But so, because right now, not every HGC team is sponsored, and he's said recently that one of his big goals, and the esports Heroes Esports team's big goals, is to make sure that no top 8 team in any of the major regions is unsponsored next year. And so
Seems
this is
reasonable.
one of the first big incentives towards this,
Mhm.
And I mean, it all depends how it turns out. But Twitch is huge. Bits are a growing thing. It's not something necessarily everyone's done or everybody knows about, but it does give a fairly easy to use system through a way 98% of the people are watching Heroes esports to plunk down real money and support their teams and then get cool in-game items representing their teams or just HGC as a whole. And so the whole goal is not necessarily to build viewership, although I think this will help somewhat in building the viewership up. The point is to give the current viewership a way to interact directly with their favorite teams / favorite orgs, and then give money to them. And then this in turn incentivizes the orgs or to continue investing more into Heroes or a new org to pick them up, because now there's a separate revenue stream that besides what you've got going just through the HGC itself and advertising and sponsorship and whatnot. But I know some people have been a little angry that you can't do this from in-game. And I can completely understand that, because if you don't watch through Twitch, which it's so accessible now, I can understand why they just, threw everything to the Twitch side. I wouldn't mind seeing some sort of Heroes Esports stuff that you could get within the client. But my hope is that I like this system, because this is basically you interacting at the same time. So I'm watching the game. I'm watching Fnatic versus Dignitas, and Fnatic makes this big play. Boom! I throw in a cheer for Fnatic, and I'm interacting during the game. And this whole system makes huge sense for that.
Yeah.
Because that's like, yeah, I'm cheering. Yeah, I give my money to Fnatic. Cool, I get a Fnatic mount or a Fnatic banner or a Fnatic spray or whatever. Whereas prize pool wise, what I'm hoping they do as kind of a natural extension of this is that anything to go towards a bigger prize pool is done from the in-game client. So now here's this really cool loot chest you can only buy with money, but 50 cents on the dollar or 75 cents on the dollar of every purchase of this loot chest I make that has this special stuff in it goes to the prize pool. And there's 100 different items you can get, and you're guaranteed one of them in every loot chest.
So like HGC loot chests.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you keep this cool little bits cheering thing for like live games. Technically I think you can do it even if the game's not live.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah, because time zones, there could be some issues.
You can cheer for any team at any time, as far as I can tell. But it's going to be something you see the most bits rolling in during the games, and probably for the teams that are playing at the time. But yeah, I think an in-game thing, I think your next step, bolster the prize pools, great. Make that the in-game thing that everyone has access to, and they're contributing to the tournament overall as a whole instead of the individual teams and orgs.
And that would be the way, one, that they would have to do it, I imagine, because I don't think people realize how big of a deal this is. This is the first time Twitch has done something like this, and it is for a game that is really only in their top 10 games viewed when the HGC is going on. It's not their number one MOBA that's on their website. So this is obviously, Blizzard wouldn't be able to give these items in game, I imagine, because of the contract, because this is going to, Twitch trying to build viewership as well. So yeah, different in-game items that go, I think the loot chest idea is awesome. But there is, it's not like this is just Blizzard saying, oh, we're just going to give items in Twitch, and that's our decision. Like it's a mutual decision, I imagine, that they have come to here.
Right. And again, still so exciting that it's happening in Heroes first. Like Blizzard has put so much of an emphasis on Overwatch and like the upcoming Overwatch League, building that out. That again, sometimes it's easy to make it seem like Heroes is not paid as well of attention to on their esports side. At least that's kind of the impression I get sometimes, not always. But to see this come out in the forefront and be like the first example with Twitch as part of their partnership is just super exciting as a fan, for sure.
Yeah. And I know I'm going to buy some bits.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
For the Western Clash coming up.
And I know
who are you going to root for?
Probably Fnatic.
Should we even say Fnatic?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been a big Fnatic fanboy for a really long time, and so seeing them where they are now is just pretty exciting.
I don't know if the deal is still going on, but I know if you were a Twitch Prime member, they were having a sale on bits running.
First time bit buyers.
First time. Yeah, so I think for $20 you get 20,000 bits, which is a 1-to-1 ratio.
Yeah.
So that's, if you have Twitch Prime, it's a good way to kind of get a head start here. But again, so there hasn't been a ton of information released as to kind of what the rewards are and stuff. I believe all this stuff is data mine, correct?
It's just kind of like
official?
It's the Gosu in one of their articles, and it'll be in the show notes, had a few screenshots of what could either be mock-ups or real things. We don't know exactly because the Twitch page, at least as of our recording, is not up yet. I assume that will probably launch sometime next week because Western Clash is next weekend.
Yeah. So you can start apparently earning rewards for specific teams at 100 bits. So that's $1.40. The one thing, the overall progress, what we're seeing from these screenshots here is a little bit worrisome. The first award on this screenshot is kind of this wolf mount. It's one of the elemental wolves, but a different skin tint, is at $100 total.
That's your personal one.
Yes.
Yeah. So
that's $100 still.
So your team, any team you root for, will all go into a personal pool.
Correct.
And your personal pool will move up, for any team you root for. And then the global one, of course, moves up when anybody does. So you only need to throw in $1 or whatever to get into that global pool where everyone is unlocking rewards for everybody else who's done bits.
Yes.
What I'm wondering is with that $100 one, first, that might not be the actual thing.
Correct.
And second, it's potentially this might be something that runs for an entire phase or an entire season.
I would hope an entire season.
Yeah, and maybe cumulative. Because I assume that each season is going to have its own set of stuff. And potentially each phase might have its own set of stuff as well. I mean, it kind of has to if teams swap out and whatnot, so that you can do. So that's what I assume. It's going to be a phase by phase thing. I hope it's not. Personal rewards are $100 per phase that you would have to. That would be ridiculous, and that should never happen because
I'm sure they're employing more reason than that. So I'm not too worried about it.
That's the first concern, but again, we don't have a lot of information. My second is, and I've seen this a lot throughout Reddit and Twitter, is say we're cheering bits for a specific team. We don't know what like the max reward is, how much that's going to cost total. But I imagine for most people, it's not, there will be some people who are like, I just want all this stuff. I'm going to buy all the bits right now and get it. Bam. But most of us, this is going to be a gradual thing that we're going to do. What happens if during a, say at the end of phase one of the teams we're cheering is in the Crucible, we're almost, to the max rewards, bam, they're knocked out. They're no longer in. Now you can say, okay, well, if there's a chance that they're going to get out, you should just go ahead and buy it. But what happens, does our progress stay if they ever come back into the HGC? Does our progress swap with the team that's coming in? Or do we have to start completely over with the new team? So there's going to be...
That's a good question.
There's a lot to that.
Because we haven't, and we're not going to hit that point until November or whatever, when the Crucible actually does happen. So hopefully they've thought this through with that. But that is a really good point.
Depends on how long it lasts, too. I mean, if it is an entire season, then yeah, but go on.
My guess here is hopefully that the amount that we're going to have to get all these rewards isn't going to be a ton. In these screenshots, again, which are not official, it's showing like to get to the first tier, it's $1.50 or 150 bits, which isn't $1.50. Second tier is 250, but then also at the fourth tier, it's 250 as well. So I'm hoping it's at ish around $25 to get all of the stuff in there for a team.
That seems fairly reasonable.
Yeah, that wouldn't be awful. No. If you're going to lose all your progress. I hope that is never the case where you'll lose all your progress.
And just FYI, this is not meant, and I mean, there's going to be collectors and people with lots of money that do it. This is not meant for you to collect them all. This is not Pokemon. Right. This is, I love Tempo Storm. I love Fnatic. Boom, you get their stuff. You don't get everybody's stuff. Like, unless you absolutely have to, you have to have every little thing. But this is the objective of this is that those 1 to 3 teams that you really like and you really want to support and you want to get their stuff and show their stuff off in game.
Yeah.
Yep.
So and that's been a lot of the complaints is, oh, this is so much money for me to get everything. Like we've been asking for this to be able to support teams. That doesn't mean you have to support every single team. It'd be nice if you can and you want to do that. That's awesome.
Go for it.
But like, we are not entitled to receive anything because of this. Like, this is extra stuff on the side. It's all cosmetic. We just need to keep that in mind. I know it's hard sometimes, and because we want the shiny things, but we can't always have shiny things.
Yeah, and just as Heroes goes too, I really like this as another revenue stream for Blizzard, because it's always great when Blizzard gives us more opportunities to support Heroes and then get cool stuff from doing it. And so Blizzard getting a cut of this, as well as the teams getting a cut. I mean, it's awesome the teams are getting a cut too, because that just gives them more incentive to pour more money and more resources or potential sponsors to jump into Heroes. But it also improves Heroes game as a whole, bottom line, which is great.
Yeah, and you know what? Another thing too, like if I get a bunch of content for a team that does eventually drop out, I'm strangely really excited for that, because then I could go back like 5-10 years from now, get in the game and say, yeah, I was rooting for such and such team all the way back in 2017, and they did really well, but then the org fell apart afterward and all that. It's for this reason that I desperately wish I had gotten the Cloud9 mount when it was out, and I do not have it. Much regrets.
For sure. All right. So up next here, Hanamura. What, the update's been out 2 weeks now?
2 or 3 weeks.
2 or 3 weeks. What's your guys' opinions on it here real quick? I have only played that map still with the move and everything like maybe twice, maybe 3 times. So not super gathered from those games though. It did definitely extend the games. I just don't know at this point if it's better, but I don't know at this point if it's just a map that isn't going to get a lot of traction. I don't know. TBK?
Yeah, it extended the games. But I don't know I don't know if I would say that's a good thing. Hanamura, you had so much potential, and Hanamura is a map that doesn't know what it wants. Hanamura is a map that tried to do too many new things all at the same time. It's a map where Blizzard went, hey, we got this cool idea. Oh yeah, this cool idea too. Let's not have the mercs push. Oh, let's throw in payloads. Oh, let's have this crazy boss in the middle. Oh, let's make it 2 lanes. It's just, there's so much in it and so much to it that it doesn't have a good identity, and at least for me personally, and because of that, it just is not that fun to play. Like, they need to, I feel like they need to go back to the drawing board. They've got amazing art, they've got amazing sound, like everything about that map is amazing except for the gameplay. Yeah, which really makes me sad. I feel like that needs, if they want to go with the payload thing, awesome. Go with the payload thing. Make it a single payload that a team has to push, and you get points or shots for how far you push it, or how far you push your particular one, so that boom, blue payload is out. Now blue team tries to push it. Red team has to defend. Now there's a reason for there to be conflict. Instead of, oh, there's 4 payloads out. We're just going to run around like chickens with our head cut off trying to figure out which one's moving and which one, we should defend and which one we should push. Oh, crap, that one single person just kind of pushed that one in, and we're just... It's just so haphazard. It's just so scattered right now. I would love to see more focus to it. And I think giving one payload at a time, or one neutral payload or something, I really like the one payload at a time idea, where one team spawns, you try to push it as far as you can, another team spawns, they try to push it as far as they can, and you get shots or points based upon how far you pushed your specific payload.
Are you proposing like an actual attack and defense version? Because like it is in Overwatch?
Kind of an attack and defense version, but in the same map. And it just
because they kind of tried that with that brawl,
and I love that brawl.
Weird. It was fun, but it was a little weird. I mean, it would need some tweaking to work.
Yeah,
is
and
my point.
That's the thing. It's still a map, right? There's still things you could do with pushing your forts and your keeps that could give you bonuses, or stuff incentivize, right? Because at the end of the day, it's still a heroes map. It's not the brawl, push the payload all the time and defend super short cooldowns or whatever. But I'm not saying that's the answer either. All I know is that right now is too much going on. There was too much new stuff added all at the same time, and it's just come down to it is not fun for me personally. It is not fun to play, and I think it's probably dropped to on par or even worse than Garden of Terror for me.
Where?
Oh, I'll never go that far. Never.
All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll continue to keep an eye on that and see, what their response is to it. But it's such a weird thing, because when we were at the media summit, and maybe it's just because it was new and shiny, like I was so stoked about this map. Oh yeah. But it's just one of those things that I think the shininess wore off, and it's
I think it was a new and shiny thing. It's just like, this is cool. We've never done this before. Look at all these new things. But when you actually sat down and you played it over the next few weeks, it was just like, there's a lot of issues with this that didn't come up.
For me, the shininess didn't wear off because it's still definitely the most beautiful map.
Mm-hmm.
And just in general, like I love bringing in the Overwatch feel to the game. I think they really did do a lot of things right. It's just exactly as you said, TBK. It's somewhere in the gameplay they definitely didn't get right the first time, are improving on a little bit, but have a long way to go to really flesh out in a way that'll just work well within Heroes, I think. So yeah. Anyway.
All right, a few other quick things here on Reddit. Claudio Gentilini, who we had on for our Ariel episode way back when, our first interview that we had, has gone to talk about kind of why some of the hero reworks and stuff take such a long time. And he brings up some really good points here about, grabbing a hero from their short list, the actual process it goes through, about why it takes 1 to 2+ months to do a hero rework is just because they have to first just paper design some potential changes, which can take up to a week to come up with all the ideas, and then iterate on proposed changes, which is another week to 2 weeks, implementing changes another week to 2 weeks, play testing and iterating on those changes 1 to 4 weeks, and then potentially having to wait on art to kind of catch up, which can be another couple weeks. On top of all that, they then have to make sure it lines up with the next major patch, which is typically the hero patches that we get, and not just a balance change patch, those smaller patches. So if they don't, they could have a hero ready, but if it's ready like a couple days after a big content drop, a new hero, then it's still going to be another 3 to 4 weeks until we actually see that in game. And Reddit has surprised me on this, as well as the next one we're going to talk about, in being very understanding. I'm proud of you, Reddit.
Yeah.
They're like,
We don't get to say that very often. I'm proud of
yeah,
you, Reddit.
this makes sense. I don't think you guys are doing reworks too often. Like, it's very well, and very well done by Claudio. Like, it really well spoken, talking about the entire process. So just a little bit more insight, which what we've been wanting on kind of the development process and rework process, as we're currently waiting on potentially a couple reworks for some heroes coming out. So they're coming.
Please
back
give
up.
Morales.
Well, it's coming.
Yeah.
I know. I want it so bad.
Just got to get there. Maybe it'll be in the Garrosh patch.
That
who
made me
knows?
super happy.
That
But
could be cool.
Please, Nate.
speaking of
Please.
reworks, people have been kind of talking about Brightwing as of late. But Blizzard is happy where Brightwing is at. And again, surprisingly, a majority of Reddit seems to be happy where Brightwing is at. Although the Brightwing players came out and said, no, I'm super happy. He feels super impactful. A lot of people said, I actually feel most impactful playing support when I'm playing Brightwing. And he's sitting right around 50% win rate. So that's good things. The only thing coming out of this is, where's the updated skin? Where's the new skin?
Oh, I know. I want that so bad.
Yeah. The new version of art for her.
And
Yeah.
we need to make sure we mention this, on a consistent. This is our quarterly. Please, Blizzard, give us the new Brightwing skin.
They've shown it to us. It's been
Right.
shown.
I know.
Just
We
give
know
it.
it exists.
Yeah. Just make it a legendary skin. I don't care. I will 1600 shards the crap out of that thing. Just do it.
Yep.
All right. So the big announcement that happened late last week, and actually just before the show, finally getting the spotlight, we have the newest hero announcement. Finally, we have another confirmed solo tank.
Yes.
And it is a Warcraft hero. It is a Hellscream. It is not necessarily all the Hellscream that we wanted. Probably the Hellscream we deserve. And that's Garrosh.
It is everybody's favorite war chief.
It is.
It's my favorite war
not,
chief.
Not my war chief. Not my war chief.
Hashtag not my war chief.
So, there's a couple things. So it's Garrosh. He is coming in. For me personally, I know I think I can safely say a majority of people hate Garrosh with a passion
Yeah.
because of
But he's
his
one that you
storyline.
love
Wow.
to hate, right?
No, I just hate him. Like, I
Just
hate him.
full on hate. Okay.
Just hate him. But and Scott talked about this. I was watching Core last night. Like, getting these villains in the game is super cool. Like Malthael, yeah, he's a villain. I don't hate Malthael though. Like there are. I'm gonna say there's no one in the Blizzard universe I hate more than Garrosh Hellscream.
It is because you are
Perfect.
Alliance scum.
Yeah.
I'm
And
poured
his
apart. You
sole
guys know
goal
this.
was to kill you.
You
All
guys,
of you.
his sole goal was to
He
kill
does
everyone.
hate Alliance. He does.
he
hate
didn't
the
care about
Alliance
the
so
Horde.
much.
I know he aligned with the Shah, and eventually, blah blah blah. He gets those abilities in his last fight in Siege of Orgrimmar, whatever. But the point is, before all that, I was super hyped by his just leadership and management skills because he's got in there. I remember that Mist of Pandaria cinematic, that little one where he's like, "We're gonna go to this island and we're gonna paint it red." I was like, man, I can get behind this guy.
Yeah.
Thrall. He just, what do you do? Sit around and play with the elements? Boring. This dude has a plan. All right, and he.
Man, with
Whether
a
or not
plan.
it worked out in the end, he enacted it, and that's
right.
you just respect that. He went back in time to try to change the timeline and create a whole new Iron Horde, and it was just it's bringing a tear to my eye.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that.
Well, regardless, I am excited for him. One, because I get to kill this son of a gun over and over again in the Nexus. And two, because his kit was kind of his highlight video and kit was again released just before the show here. And holy cow, does
Pretty
he
cool.
look
Awesome,
awesome? Yeah. So
like main worthy, awesome.
yeah. So he's scheduled to go in PTO, I believe the
31st.
31st. Yes, which will be this next Tuesday.
Monday.
Monday. Yes, Monday.
Yeah, they've been doing
so
PTR
just-
releases Monday for the last several.
Just kind of a cap of his abilities here, and we'll have this page in the show notes. So his trait is armor up. This is very Hearthstone-ish. So he's going to gain 1 armor for every 2% of maximum health missing, meaning the more health he's missing, the harder he is to kill. His abilities are Groundbreaker, which is just the conal front area damage to enemies in the area. However, if they are hit on the outer edge, it pulls them back. So it's like a miniature Cho ult. And my lights are flickering. Power.
Oh, mine did too. Mine did too. This could get real interesting, folks.
So it's a mini. What's that Cho ult called?
Upheaval.
Upheaval. It's a mini upheaval. If you hit him on the outer edge,
the edge. The edge is an upheaval.
Yes. His W is going to be Bloodthirst. This is 156 damage to an enemy and heal for 10% of Garrosh's missing health, and it's doubled against heroes.
Do we know? Not to interrupt you, but do we know if that's an off swing yet? Like, can you activate that after an auto attack to get like Frostmourne?
I bet it's an off swing.
It made it sound like it didn't say like in the video activating makes your next attack. It just said
deal the damage.
Yeah, it's like a special swing.
I tried to watch on the video, and I think whoever filmed it just timed it to where it looked like just a regular auto attack. But yeah, if it's an off swings are my favorite thing in the entire game. So I'm on board. Anyway.
But then Wrecking Ball. I'm really interested to see how this is actually works mechanically in game, because it's definitely going to be one of the more involved abilities to be used in game.
I assume this is the move that the programmer was hinting at that they put in the new tech for.
Yeah. So this is somehow you're going to select a hero, but you'll be able to throw a nearby enemy hero, minion, or mercenary to the target location, dealing 91 damage to enemies near the impact and slowing them by 30% for 2.5 seconds. So this brings up in the video, it's like a ring around you, and then being able to have a smaller ring that you can kind of select where they're going to be impacted. Again, this is going to be really interesting as far as like quick cast or on release. Right. Probably going to be one of those abilities you want to tweak if you're just like a pure quick cast person. But such cool plays shown in the video with Groundbreaker pulling somebody back and then throwing them over the wall is going to be super, super awesome. So
those clips in the video were so cool. Just seeing
I know. It's very well done. So what it looks like from the video was that it's going to put this little horde symbol over the target
closest.
That you can over the it looks like it's going to be whatever is closest to him, and my guess it's going to prioritize heroes, then mercs, then minions.
Makes sense.
Is what I'm guessing. And so it also, there's apparently a talent that you can take that allows it to work with allies too. So I'm really interested to see if there's like a toggle or something. Like, does it prioritize allies over enemies or enemies over allies, depending if
in a really tight group fight?
In a tight group fighters. So that's kind of interesting. So I'm kind of interested to see how that interaction works. But it looks like right now it is the closest thing to him is the target.
I would hope they would make it like Helping Hand was initially, to where you can toggle that on with like the one key. But just think of the plays with that. Either having like the Greymane that dives in, goes nuts, and then as he's about to die, you throw him back out. Or
throw him in.
Yeah, or throw him in to initiate. But I mean, he has the dive in. They're just players like that, to where you can just like, here you go, right to their back line. Sweet, get on that Chromie or Li Ming, which can be hard to do. But his
I'm sure we're going to see plays like that. Real quick on Wrecking Ball, though, if there are other E talents and we build an entire build out of that, can we call it the Miley Cyrus build?
Absolutely, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Not what?
It's 2 versus 1.
Yep.
I Cyrus coming into one of our episode titles here in the next month or so.
It could happen, guys. Anyway,
he came in like a wrecking ball. Heroic abilities. Warlord's Challenge. You silence nearby heroes and force them attack Garrosh for 1.5 seconds. So this is an AoE
taunt, folks.
Taunt.
Bro,
AoE
town.
Freaking taunt. It's also on a 20-second cooldown. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I was about to say.
Either way, a little jab at Varian. It's okay.
Either way, rip Varian, because man, that's AoE for this? Like when I saw that in the video, I was a bit shocked.
It's 50-second cooldown. It looks like right now. I don't know if that's enough. That's
one per group fight, probably.
Like and on top of like the armor, like just him taunting everyone, letting him get chunked down, divine shield, and then coming out bloodthirst.
Extremely strong.
Yeah,
it's an extremely strong form of CC.
Yes,
especially against
everyone.
I mean, caster comps. Obviously, it's still strong on auto attack comps, but it's just gonna be nuts. And then his second here, this heroic's kind of cool too. I don't know if it'll ever overtake an AoE taunt, but it's Decimate, where you deal 50 damage to nearby enemies and slow them for 30% for 1.5 seconds. Deals 100% more damage to heroes. And each hero hit reduces the cooldown by 1 second. Stores up to 3 charges. So this is like a little
8-second cooldown charges too.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So
That's how you make it compete with an AoE taunt.
That's true.
Easily. It seemed like in the video there were some cool plays with it. I mean, he was wrecking balling over his head. There was that one screen where like he would then kind of body block and then cast that a few times, the Decimate. So I could see some use, but AoE taunt.
So he's going to be a solo tank. His strengths here are obviously going to be, CC and crowd control with some sustain. Not going to have a lot of bursts or sustain damage. My question here for you guys, because obviously we're going to get more in depth with him after we play him and things like that, is does this kit fulfill the fantasy of Garrosh for you? Because for me personally, in all like the WoW videos and things that we have seen of his battles with Chin and stuff, he seemed more like this super powerful guy that would be dealing a lot of damage. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not upset about this kit or anything like that. I think it still makes sense. And I'm super happy to have another solo warrior here, solo tank. But does it hit it on the head like they have some of these past heroes in fulfilling that fantasy for you?
It does for me personally, just because, again, I'm with you. I could have seen him maybe being a damage dealer. But then, technically we already have an orc melee damage dealer in Thrall, right? Who, spoiler alert, they had a little scuffle at the end of their little storyline there together. But anyway, point being, so I mean, I like that he's a tank, and I like the flavor of it. My main concern after we saw Varian at BlizzCon was, Varian kind of encapsulates all of the different specs of a warrior. He's got his arms build, he's got his fury build, he's got his tanking build, prot, I guess it would be. And so, like, I think we even said way back then, how do they do another warrior? How do they do Garrosh whenever he comes out? Because we've already got all the specs kind of covered in one hero. And so they did it by going just a slightly different direction. They gave us some Garrosh flavored abilities. And so I don't know. I loved the kit so much when I first saw it and just can't wait to try it. So works for me.
Yeah, it's I do think the abilities make sense, but like I just closed the window. The AoE slow swinging the axe, heroic, that only does 50 damage. To me, like, this dude has a huge legendary axe that he's swinging around, and that only does 50 damage. Like, it makes sense kit-wise.
100% more damage to heroes.
That's true. So 100 damage, scaling, of course.
Yeah, and you got 3 charges of it. So
I'm sure his damage numbers at the end are going to be just fine. It seems like. But we'll see.
It's really interesting because I think with Garrosh, you could have gone a lot of different ways with his kit. This is definitely one that I think feels okay and feels fairly lore accurate. Like, I miss not seeing Iron Stars.
Oh yeah, okay.
With his kit in some way, shape, or form, because that was just such a big part of the fight you had with him from a WoW perspective. There was also a lot of people talking about maybe he becomes infested with Shaw energy or something like that, because that was another huge part of him for quite a while as one of his ults or something like that. So this is this is a very I hate to use this generic Garrosh, I guess. And that sounds bad. It's not necessarily bad. It's just the way they took it. But it's a very baseline Garrosh. It doesn't have a lot of the quote special stuff that he had throughout his WoW appearance and such.
You know what it
And-
really needs is a little bit more Hearthstone flavor. I feel like one of the heroics should have been Brawl, which is where a cartoony brawl happens between the entire enemy team and only one of them survives. That's how it should have been, folks. And so here's the other thing. Speaking of Hearthstone, this is the second to last just base Hearthstone hero to be added to this game. We've now got Anduin the Priest is the only one left. That is
And we
not
do
yet
need
in
a
the
priest,
game.
so
And we do need a priest. Do we want him over Velen? I don't
Yes.
know. Whatever.
sure.
Yes to you. Okay.
Fine.
Well, I want a space.
I just want a priest.
Whatever. Fair point.
I will say, when it comes to designing heroes, I think going the generic route is probably the best call, because these are supposed to be, the heroes themselves coming over, not just a portion. Even though
True.
D-Bag, Shaw, Garrosh is the thing that we know the most and love to hate. But I do think that the abilities that he has, and by looks some of the artwork, would actually fall into a Shaw infested skin with new artwork for him pretty well.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Which is important,
see
because
that.
I do think it's super
I hope we
important
see
to have
that.
that skin.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I really do hope we see that. And like I said, the only thing I really miss is an Iron Star of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
Him calling it down as an ult or throwing it or something like that. I know we have a Sergeant Hammer skin that shoots the Iron Star for the ult.
Okay.
That's take it or leave it, but otherwise,
Yeah.
I think it's a very unique kit, and I'm super pumped to have another solo warrior.
It is.
Maybe it's an Iron Star on the end of his. You've seen the skin, the Mad Axe, the Mad Max themed one. Maybe
Yeah.
that's an Iron Star spinning around at the end of his weird motorcycle axe.
Maybe,
thing.
maybe.
knows?
So also here, the fact that you can throw allies, I'm just reading this article and it's a very good point. This is the latest and greatest in Heroes trolling potential.
Yes.
You got somebody playing bad on your team, sacrifice them. Just come here, throw them over to the enemy team. Throw your chrome.
You have
throw
to
your medic.
sacrifice a talent to get the ability to do ally.
That's
throw.
fine. It's almost worth it.
I do.
No, but
I
it's-
do hope to see some amazing HGC plays with
Yeah.
that talent with him.
Oh, I'm sure we will. Based on what I saw in that video, it looked like it was a huge playmaker. So
Yeah.
I am certain we will.
Maybe we'll see ETC come back, throwing ETC into a mosh pit, or throwing a ETC and then him mosh pitting, not throwing him into a mosh pit. Before we move on here, I know TBK, you were looking at some of the talents and stuff coming up. Is there any of the talents that really stick out to you that you want to go over real quick?
Probably not until I've had more time to
Okay.
play them. We'll hit a few of the highlights, I'm sure, once we get some PTR time next week.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, there was a balance patch that also came out today here, and we'll hit those real quick. First up, Genji, the assassin, has gotten just the straight nerf bat. So his health reduced, health regen reduced, mana cost of shuriken up, dragon blade cooldown increased, mana cost increased, and dodge at level 7 charges reduced from 3 to 1, and the cooldown though reduced from 12 to 8.
This is perfect though. I think this is exactly where they needed to hit him, because
yeah,
I don't think the health nerf is going to kill him. It's going to make you need to be a little more careful about when you engage, and it's going to make trading with him a little more favorable for you as well, because he won't have quite the health, the regen. So he's going to have to be a little more careful there. But I mean, overall, it's just they hit every note. They hit every point I think they needed to hit with a nerf with him without just running him into the ground and making him worthless.
Right.
for sure.
Seems okay.
He's just, I think I've come to accept he's one of those heroes because his win rate isn't like super high last time I checked. He's just a really high skill cap hero.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those ones that
Exactly.
they're going to have a hard time balancing between
This
the
is-
professional player and the casual player.
This is a pro diamond up nerf, really.
Yeah.
Definitely in the HGC scene. So yeah, for sure.
All right. Greymane Curse Bullet
Called this.
reduced, by 5%. It's now 35%. So that was probably a needed change there. It was a
I
needed
don't
change,
know
not probably.
why it was increased in the first place.
Mhm.
Didn't
Fair point.
make any sense. So this makes sense. It's
Yeah.
back to where it was.
Tychus fully loaded at level 4. Cooldown reduction increased from 33% to 44%, which is just from 4 seconds to 5 seconds. Zool here with his new rework got a.
He's doing pretty well right now.
No, yeah, he is.
He's on the top of the old hot slogs right now.
He is.
So they tried to tamper that down a little bit with this. Yeah.
Yeah, with skeleton health reduced, curse strikes in cooldown increased by a second, Grim Sith nerfs, and no, Grim Sith actually buffed. It's
Scythe?
reduced.
Sith, like
Whatever.
Darth Vader.
Sith Lord Scythe.
Sith, that's a new one. Normally it's Scythe,
Grim Sith.
but Sith.
I
That's,
think I've heard him say Sith
Normally it's
before.
what?
Normally the mispronunciation is Scythe.
Really? People say Scythe?
Oh,
I've never
yeah.
heard anyone say
That's weird.
Scythe.
Sith. Sith kind of makes sense to me, but it is Scythe. It's
Yes.
just the newest word for Gizmo that he can't pronounce correctly on the podcast. But the cooldown reduction increased from 0.5 to 0.75. So, I think some good changes
Little
there.
tone
I've played
down.
a few games of him, and he is super strong. Super. Support Stukov. You knew he was going to get some changes here, and some interesting ones. I actually think it's a good first move. So healing pathogen, mana cost increase, filling swipe pushback, distance increased by 50%. Doesn't matter. Still going to go the push for sure.
Whoa!
Obviously.
This is huge. This actually
not-
is really huge for flailing swipe, and this combos really well with the level 20 change that took place too. But this makes flailing swipe feel so much better from a pushback perspective, because this is an extra 50% distance.
That is significant.
It still hits like a soft feather pillow gently caressing your
sock.
cheek, but
It's like
it
he
need-
grabbed a sock and had the right idea, but instead of filling it with rocks, he filled it with like little foam balls.
I still feel like it needs a little more damage, but otherwise it definitely feels a lot better.
It's like Ariel's ribbons. You just brush your opponent gently.
Yeah.
Feels great.
Some of the other really good changes here. So first off, Spine Launcher, which is his turning his auto attack into a ranged. The slow duration is increased from 120.5 seconds, which is his attack speed. So that's a great change there. Fetid Touch, they reduced the quest requirements from 20 to 40 to 15 and 30. And then Growing Infestation, which is the increased area for that silence ability, it now increases the cooldown of Lurking Arm by 4 seconds, which is
that hurts.
that's a long time.
Yeah.
But I think
yeah.
those are some good changes. It makes Spine Launcher a lot more shiny, I think.
Could
for
still
me.
maybe be worth it. I don't know. I need to get in and feel it out. So
Yeah.
It may just
Um,
change. It may just change me from getting the range to the hero cooldown reduction. Hitting heroes,
Yeah,
I could see that.
Yeah, reduces the cooldown of the arm.
That's true.
I don't know.
One good spread at 4. The requirement reduced from 4 to 3, and mana refund increased from 30 to 40. Vigorous reuptake healing bonus. This is a big one that needed to be changed. Reduced from 50 to 40. Will that be enough?
My mini ancestrals? How
Yeah.
dare you, Blizzard?
Will that
Take
be
away my
enough?
mini ancestrals. I don't
Who
know.
knows?
I think it
don't know.
will be, because you're going to be spending more mana on your healing pathogens in
Yeah.
the first place. You're going to have
That's
to be a
true.
little more careful about when you use those to spread them around. And it still takes 50. So
That's true.
we'll see.
To finish it, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know about this change. 16 Pox Populi, adjusted functionality, detonating bio kill switch no longer refreshes heal duration, but instead sets the duration to 3 seconds. I don't take this one anyways, because I
It's a
take
pretty good one.
Oh,
I
it's
take where
fantastic.
it's it just your what is that healing pathogen continuously goes through you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah. Well, this is kind of cool, because maybe you could wait until the very end of the timer on the hot and then activate it, get an extra kind of like 3 seconds out of it.
Yeah, and this is probably it's one of the more high skill cap. The reason I enjoy the Infinite is I think it lowers the skill cap a lot because you don't have to time out in a team fight. Hey, I need to throw this out to be able to time it to spread to everyone and then cast my mini ancestral. I can just throw it out and then it is ready when I need it in a team fight. So I'm a less skill cap person, I guess. I don't know. And then at 20, Controlled Chaos is the one TBK was talking about where the cooldown between casts reduced from 3 to 1 seconds, which is huge. And then the cooldown for each charge reduced from 40 to 30. So that's big. And push comes to shove, duration requirement reduced from 1.5 to 1.25 seconds. So, yeah.
Yeah. And that's the duration requirement for getting the cooldown reduction.
Correct. For pushing them for 1.25 seconds now to get the, what is it, 10?
15
or cut it in
second
half?
reduction or something like that.
Yeah. Uther, healing, nerfed. Holy Light reduced 380 to 360. Self-healing reduced 190 to 180. And Holy Radiance mana cost increased. Some good changes there. He is a monster right now. And then there were overall just some health buffs for warriors. The one that I do want to mention here real quick is Chen. So there have been issues with Chen. People have been talking about it for a while to where it just feels really bad as soon as you start drinking your brew. The stun coming out, and now you can't do anything for like 5 seconds. So to change this, and it was actually Matt Villars.
Matt Villars, yeah.
Villars went on and discussed. So they're changing it to where the brew per second is being reduced from 40 to 30, but Chen is now instantly going to gain 25 brew upon activation. So it's going to take the same time overall to fill up, but you'll get 25 instantly, even if you get stunned out of it. That way you're still functional, which is a super intelligent change.
It's a nice
that probably
mini
feels
buff
good.
/ quality of life change.
Yeah.
Yeah, because over time, I mean, initially when Chen came out, it wasn't as big a deal, but now with so many more heroes in the game that have stuns and all the other things they can do to interrupt it there, this is good. I'll be interested to get in there and feel this out. I haven't played them in a while. I need to.
Of course, they had to balance it with a little nerf.
Well, of course.
As well, to his most popular level 1.
Yeah. So elusive brawler cooldown increase and reduction from basic attacks reduced. But I don't know. I always enjoyed Chen, so maybe I'll
Chen's a lot of fun.
Bring him back. But yeah, the Muradin and Rexar.
What is this? Okay, what is this? What is this?
Yeah, Rexar.
Why did Muradin
Rexar.
get his health increased from 2633 to 2765 and his health regen from 55 to 58?
Because he's the new Nubarak, man. They're just tweaking health numbers on him. We're going to see it every week now.
He has so much health. He has so
That's a
much
good
health
point.
already.
That's a lot.
It's like, why?
That is a lot.
Why does Muradin need more? I mean, Muradin's not bad. Like, he's decent. Why does he need more health? I'll take it. I like Muradin. Sure. Make me have even a more ridiculous avatar, but I don't know. It just kind of caught me out of the blue. It's like, okay, I can just see the conversation. You know what we should do? We should give Muradin more health. Yeah, we haven't touched him in a while. Go. Sure, go ahead.
Why not?
I feel like that was brought up at a meeting, and then someone just started a slow clap. They were like, all right, let's do this. And they all just chimed in. It was just a great moment for them.
Your lights are going nuts.
Oh, yeah. My power's going out in like 2 seconds here, so I'm going to enjoy this while it lasts.
So there's a few more changes there. I know we went through those a little faster than normal, but we have a little bit more to get through. So let's go ahead and actually get to that in the HGC. All right, TBK, what happened in this last week of HGC before our bye week leading into the Western Clash? Western Clash.
Craziness. Like, every single match, or almost every single match on Friday, mattered ridiculously to see who is going to get into the Western Clash. Like, absolutely insane. So, Dignitas had to beat Tricked, and then Expert had to beat Liquid for Dignitas to be able to get in. And so Dignitas came out swinging. They've had kind of a rough first phase a little bit. And so they came out swinging. They beat Tricked Esports 3-0. And then if these one set you go back and watch the Team Liquid versus Team Expert set. Like, it's absolutely fantastic. Team Liquid ended up beating Expert 3-2, just barely, and managed to completely deny Team Dignitas Western Clash. And this is the first time in a really long time that Dignitas will not be at a major LAN event. Like,
that is pretty crazy.
That's insane. And so Fnatic, Liquid, and Team Expert will be representing Europe for the Western Clash. As far as NA goes, NA had an even more complicated set of things that they had to do. Roll20 ended up 3-0ing No Tomorrow, but Team Freedom would have had to have 3-0'd Tempo Storm for them to even have a chance to get into the Western Clash. So it ended up that Team Freedom, Tempo Storm, and Gale Force will be representing us at the Western Clash, which is really cool. Team Freedom, huge improvement over Phase 1. Massive, massive improvement. They come from nearly being in the Crucible to being one of the top 3 NA teams and representing NA at the Western Clash.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really
super cool to see. Yeah.
Very, very cool to see. So those are our teams. Like I said, Fnatic, Liquid, Expert, and then from NA we have Tempo Storm, Gale Force, and Team Freedom. They also announced the casters for both the Western and Eastern Clashes. There is a $100,000 prize pool up for grabs in both of these. So Grubby, Gilly, Dreadnought, Kaldor, Trixler, Kalaris is back, yay, for Western Clash, and some new blood, Skimmy, who I believe is a New Zealand Heroes caster.
Okay.
So they're bringing in some brand new talent for the Western Clash, which is really awesome. So I'm excited to get to see them again, and Kalaris hosting always makes me happy because he's just a fun guy. So that is going to kick off next weekend. This is a bye week.
Yes.
So I don't know what I'm going to watch this weekend. Any weekend Heroes is not on, I'm just like, what do I do with myself?
Go back and watch old VODs of games you've already seen and analyze them deeper.
That's true. Or we
That's
could just have a LAN on Saturday.
That's actually a plan.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sounds like
Esports.
a good plan. Yeah,
LAN at my house.
And I'll be able to be there.
That's right. You're actually in town. It's crazy.
LANs are fun. And then on the other side for the Eastern Clash, where we will see Taiwan, China, Southeast Asia, and South Korea fighting for that $100,000 prize pool. Gillyweed, Dreadnought, Kaldor, Trixler, and then Wolf and Jayhow will be casting the Eastern Clash. So definitely be sure to check those out. And remember, we mentioned it up earlier, but the Western Clash will be the very first time you will be able to do the Twitch bit cheering to start getting team-related stuff. So make sure you're there next Friday when the Western Clash kicks off.
Yeah.
I'm going to be throwing you some bits, Gale Force, so don't let me down. Don't let me down.
And we will try, and as soon as there's more about this cheering system available and stuff, we'll keep all that. Make sure we're retweeting everything on our Twitter if you're needing to kind of figure that out, if you've never used the cheers before. So just to make sure everyone's prepped in time for this.
Yeah. And remember,
the one thing...
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead if you're still going to talk about the bits.
I was going to say the Western Clash is in Kiev. And so I believe the on location is free entry. So if you live in the area or whatever, go check it out. It's free. You can go in person and, cheer and shout. And I don't know, maybe throw real dollar bills at the team if you want to feel like you're a part. I don't think it works like that. Just remember though, because it is in Kiev, the game times are quite early. So like for our central time, on August 4th. The first game, Fnatic versus the Red Canids, or Canids, starts at 5:20 a.m.
Canids? Gotcha.
And then 6:50 a.m., 8:20 a.m. So it starts, and the last game is at 12:50 p.m. So for most folks in the States, the latter half of games should be fairly easily watchable. But just know, especially if you're on the West Coast, you're going to have to be getting up pretty dang early to catch the first few games.
This is why I'm glad you can go back and cheer and add bits later, because I don't know if I'll be getting up that early for some of those.
The first round highlight for me that I want to make sure to mention for all of you, if you can wake up early enough, it is a little bit later. It's going to be at 8:20 on Friday. That's Gale Force versus Nomia. So Nomia, of course, the team from Australian region, New Zealand, to really have a heck of a showing at the first Western Clash. So super excited to see them up against Gale Force.
Yeah. No, that's
hopefully Gale Force prevails.
I'm really excited to see Nomia. They showed a huge improvement at the midseason brawl, and taking some good games off of good teams. So I'm excited.
And they built up a huge fan base doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So they're in a good spot.
All right, TBK, what do you got for community content this week?
So some pretty cool stuff. I'm linking in Twitch chat. Of course, it'll be in the show notes. JHow does and keeps up a really cool per map tier list and build list. And this thing is awesome. It's got literally everything. A tier list per map, and then builds for pretty much every hero you can think of, sometimes even map specific. But it's this awesome Google Sheets link. Like I said, you can find it on his Twitter. You can find it if you're watching live in chat. And then, of course, lordsofthestorm.libsyn.com. It'll be a link in the show notes. So definitely go check that out. It's very cool.
Yeah, I just want to mention this is a really good tool for if you are finding to kind of take your, either Hero League or Team League game to the next step. Because, a lot of, and this is something I've actually been working on. This is a great tool for me because I've gotten to where I've gotten too comfortable just having, my set heroes and then their set builds. Of course, there's some to where occasionally, I'll break away depending on team comp, but the map is something that I have not really thought about when it comes to talents as much. I'm not saying follow these things, for word, throughout Hero League and stuff, but to take a look at and kind of get your mindset to start thinking about that.
Yeah, it just gives you ideas more than anything, which is cool. There may be something in there you haven't thought about previously, and you think, oh, you know what? Actually, I am a halfway decent Zagara. I hear she's really great on this map. There's my pick. It may just help nudge you in that direction. And so this is really cool, and this is a lot of work putting this together too. So mad props.
It's a very cool resource. Also, I need to shout out Bloodlust. Bloodlust 2017 is happening right now. All the qualifiers or most of the group stage stuff is over. I believe the actual tournament is going to be going on this weekend, starting Friday night at 10 a.m. Eastern time. I don't know if the time's right. I believe it's Friday night. Okay. I'm just looking at the bracket page right now, so the time's not right. It is this Friday, though. I believe they're going to be doing a live Town Hall Heroes from Jake's place right beforehand, and then jumping into it. And there's some big teams. There's some the teams from the NA Open, and then there's some teams like Team Freedom, Roll20, Gale Force, Tempo Storm, Superstars. So it should be fun. The last Bloodlust was a ton of fun. The Hot Pepper cast was literally one of the best things I've ever seen in my entire life.
Oh, they got to bring that back.
Well, I don't know if they reached the goal, but I believe one of the goals was a helium cast.
Oh, really?
This time around. Yeah.
Oh, they're going to pass out by the end.
Because I remember
oh my gosh.
There was some discussion a thread I got involved in on Twitter with Jake, and I had mentioned that there should be a helium cast, and he said that was one of their goals. And I don't remember if he said they already achieved it or not. So Yeah.
That's awesome. But yeah, definitely check that out. I believe that might be it's a pretty big. It might be launch or featured when it goes live. There's a decent chance of that. But Arcane8 Twitter or Jake's Twitter at Solid Jake GG, I think.
Well, there's your thing to do on the bye week.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, there you go.
That's I bet that's why they scheduled
Feels
it
like
for
it's
then.
by design. Yes, yes.
Yes, it's like they planned it that way. But yeah, check that out. I believe it's running Friday and Saturday. So
All right. Well, we did get some listener questions here for this week. We're going to have to push those till next week just due to our little bit of late start with technical difficulties and whatnot. But we will
Conveniently-
get to those.
Conveniently, there's still going to be good questions next week, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Before Multi and I and potentially TBK's power goes out, why don't you tell us where we can be reached really quick?
Yes, we can be found in-game by typing /join space LOTS, or you can join our Discord, which is sticky at the top of our Twitter, which is at Lords of the Storm. You can probably hear the thunder in the background here.
it's good effect. Keep going. You got this.
Okay, good.
Lords of the
it's a storm. The Lords of the Storm. Yeah, it ties in. We should have this for every show. I'll get a white noise machine. So we're also on twitch.tv/Lords of the Storm, live Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Central. I'm also on facebook.com/Lords of the Storm podcast. You can send us email with feedback or questions to lordsofthestorm@outlook.com. And again, we'll get to you guys. Don't even worry about it. If you want to help with the show, a couple ways of doing it. You could leave us a 5-star review. Those are always appreciated. Or if you want to help out in any other way, we've got a Patreon, patreon.com/Lords of the Storm, where you can give any amount that you deem appropriate for the services we provide here. But again, you don't have to. And we appreciate everyone who has in the past, will in the future. Yes.
You can also find us individually. You can find myself on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, all those things at Gizmo Zord, as well as Convert Trade Presents the BattleNet News, the weekly World of Warcraft / All Things Blizzard show, which is at 10 p.m. Central on Tuesdays. I already had enough trouble with that, and now that I
Got your
switched time zones,
switch back,
it's even
Gonna be
worse. Multi, how about you? Where can you be reached?
So I'm on Twitter at Multizord. I also this week was featured on the Lagging Balls podcast, if you guys are familiar. I hopped on for a guest spot. It's a new segment that they have called the Lagging Balls Inquiry. So hopefully I didn't drag our good name through the dirt too much. Probably did a little bit. That's okay. So check that out if you guys haven't yet. It's the most recent episode there. I do want to point you guys, as always, to the Cavalry Show, which is on Twitter at the Cavalry
Our sister show.
Sister show. Yeah, not
That
spin-off. Sister show, and some news on that show for you guys. So you remember that one time that I brought on a couple locals just to have on for the heck of it, Bob and Mel. And we were like, oh yeah, sure, you can hop on the show. Well, now Bob is the co-host of Watchpoint Radio, which is another Overwatch podcast,
Oh, cool.
and new to the Cavalry, their third host, his wife, Melarina.
That's
rival
awesome.
Household
podcasters
rivalry.
in the same household.
Wow.
And it's the war is on, folks. The war is on.
Impressive.
Go check it out.
Awesome. And TBK.
You can find me on Twitter at TBKZord and twitch.tv/TBKZord, where I am back to streaming Chair League, normally Thursday nights. We get a set in. The last 2 weeks, me and John Jagger have done some casting. A lot of fun, so definitely check that out when you can.
All right. We want to give a special thanks to our patron producer, Oro Borosword, for helping support the show as always. Yeah, Garrosh coming next week. PTR. Get in. Garrosh smash. Hulk smash. Fling people. I don't know. Do what you do. It's Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah.
Have a good time. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place. Wednesday night. 9 p.m. Central. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Greetings.
Now, I shall do
All right.
All right. Well,